Hey there everyone, Zion over here from Nintendo Life, and today we are finally able to share with you our review of Little Town Hero on the Nintendo Switch. This review was originally written by Reseigh-Lincoln for NintendoLife.com and was reworked into this video by me. It must be quite the daunting task for a studio best known for one of the most recognizable game franchises of all time to brave the ire of its considerable audience, branch out into new pastures, and release a brand new IP. Especially when you happen to be a little company called Game Freak, and that well-known game franchise that you have just so happens to be the pop culture icon known as Pokemon. Still, despite working on the world of Pocket Monsters for over 2 decades, the Tokyo-based developer has intermittently cleansed its own palette with the likes of Drill Dozer, Pocket Card Jockey, and Tembo, each one offering a notably different experience to the last. So with Little Town Hero, it's no surprise to see director Masotaya and the small team at his disposal actively attempt to produce something that's distant enough from the Pokemon series to stand out in its own right. Turn-based and cutesy it may be, but Taya-san and co. have opted for something that feels both new and instantly familiar, avoiding the grand scale of a traditional RPG for a deeper and more nuanced approach to strategy and combat phases. And the result is a game that mixes lighthearted exploration with a series of boss battles that require you to master its mechanics rather than invest 45 hours into leveling up your character. Little Town Hero is technically an RPG, but not in the contemporary ways we've come to expect from this increasingly muddied genre. There's no giant map to explore, there's no smaller enemies to defeat and use for XP grinding. There's no XP of any kind, actually. No weapons to loot or craft, no major branching storylines with dialogue options that completely rewrite the plot as you go through the game. In fact, Little Town Hero has more in common with modern digital collectible card games such as Hearthstone, Lightseekers, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Than it does, say, Final Fantasy or The Witcher 3. Even your titular hero and the home he resides in rails against RPG tradition. You can change Axe's name if you wish, but you can't change his hair color or swap out his clothes, or even his gender. He's just a lad living in a village where the only real rule is don't leave the village. Legends say there are monsters roaming around outside, so everyone from the workers who mine underground to the king himself remain within the confines of the village. In practice, that means you'll spend your time with Little Town Hero only roaming around these same streets, fields, and tunnels, from the grounds of the palace to the neighborhood where Axe and his mother live. Being confined to one location sounds restrictive, but Axe's home is actually full of tons of interesting places to explore. From the mines in which he applies his trade, all the way to the palace itself. The further you push into the story, the more places you'll unlock, and after a while, you begin to appreciate the little details of having one core location rather than running around a generic overworld for 50 hours. More like its overall length, Axe's home is a bite-sized alternative to the genre norm that simplifies everything, so its battle system can take center stage. Because combat really is Little Town Hero's calling card, and it's where the game shines the brightest. Rather than taking weapons or gear into battle, Axe instead relies upon an arsenal of ideas. With the power of a mysterious red gem found in the mines beneath his home, the redhead hero can actively conjure moves and actions into life with the power of his imagination. These ideas are known as Izzets and appear on a radial wheel you can spin to engage each idea individually. At this stage, an Izzet is just a possibility. In order to use it, you need to give it power. This transforms it into a Dazzet, complete with its own attack and defense stat and a buff unique to that Dazzet. Think of Dazzets like cards in a deck or units in a tactics RPG that you need to spend traditional AP points on to activate them. When a Dazzet's defense is depleted, it will break, removing it from the battle. Now, Dazzets come in 3 different variations: yellow, red, and blue. Yellow Dazzets serve as shields and can be used multiple times in one turn. Red Dazzets, however, serve as offensive attacks, but can only be used once per turn. Blue Dazzets cost power to use, but offer unique special effects, such as applying 1 damage to all enemy Dazzets, or increasing your own offensive stats. so effectively you have gear to protect yourself, weapons to attack your opponent, and spells to help improve your chances of success mid-battle. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, it is, but it's just that there's a lot of depth to unearth once you learn the intricacies of juggling dazits, gimmicks, supports, and more, and once you actually understand what each of them are, because there's a lot of really weird words being used here. Should you defeat all your opponent's dazits, you'll enter an attack phase known as an all break. If you have no red dazits left, you'll be awarded 1 BP or breakpoint and increase your power meter, but only if both you and your opponent have run out of active dazits. The more this meter fills, the more power you'll have at your disposal. Much like traditional CCGs, fights can often last for more than 20 turns, but playing the long game means you'll have more power and ability points to play far stronger dazits as a result. Everything comes down to tactics and how well you use your power to bring certain dazits into play. Which Izzits are best suited to breaking all of your opponent's dazits? Should you try and go for a chance turn and damage your opponent, or go for a clean all break and earn a BP that could help revive an incredibly useful Izzit? By removing the need to grind for XP, Little Town Hero is far fairer of an experience that gives players all the tools they need to win a battle. The challenge comes in knowing exactly how to read a situation, and how best to utilize your Izzits and the environment around you. There's a skill tree system that uses Eureka points to level up your dazits, so even if you die, you're still awarded extra points so you can restart the battle with a slightly increased advantage. And rather than keeping the battle to one static location, each main monster battle also takes place on a grid, where a counter randomly picks the number of spaces you need to move once a turn has been played out. Each location in the village has its own grid, each with their paths that reconnect to one another. Depending on where you are in the story, some points on the grid will contain support characters and gimmicks that can be used to help you in battle. Gimmicks are tools that require a specific dazit in order to work, such as a powerful cannon or a surprisingly deadly chicken. Support characters provide a powerful additional attack that vary in effect, such as Maddox's direct heart strikes or Pasmina's ability to restore your guts and revive ideas. Support characters can be used as soon as you land on a given point on the grid, while gimmicks often need further planning in order to utilize their specific power at the right time with the right dazit. You can even learn more powerful new ideas by landing on spots with an exclamation mark, such as the bomb combo. Better yet, utilize the right dazit and you can gain free mobility, a mechanic that enables you to manually choose your next location within a set parameter. In practice, the system is easy enough to pick up. There's certainly plenty of choice when it comes to tactics. Even taking a hit and losing a heart comes with its benefits if used at the right time. But like any game that borrows from CCGs, there's a randomized element to every battle that's a little too wild to control. The strength and severity of your opponent's dazits are often far too unpredictable, and it's easy to be overwhelmed with a flurry of offensive buffs that strip all the bite out of your own. As much as you plan, there's always a random element to your opponent's arsenal that can sometimes make combat either severely unfair or just downright too easy. However, Little Town Hero is still aiming for more of a casual RPG feel overall, serving up a story that's simple enough for even the youngest of players to soak in and enjoy, in a visual style that fits into the living cartoon aesthetic the Pokemon series has been rolling with for years now. Even Toby Fox's upbeat soundtrack has a tonal simplicity to it, although it does lack the stylistic diversity found in his outstanding soundtrack for Undertale and Deltarune. His music invokes the early days of The Legend of Zelda, but it lacks the memorable quality. Battles themselves tend to last a lot longer than those found in other turn-based RPGs, but these encounters are the meat and potatoes of Little Town Hero's adventure, and long fights ultimately produce more diverse and more powerful Izzits that systematically empower you in later battles. As a Switch-only experience, Little Town Hero runs relatively well, although we did occasionally encounter some noticeable slowdown when exiting an interior location. Avoiding all side quests, of which there are many scattered across the settlement, you're looking at around 10 to 12 hours to finish up the main story. But you could add another 5 or more if you want to complete every quest and really fill out your compendium of Izzits and Dazits. This is substantially less than most RPGs, but Little Town Hero isn't trying to be another Final Fantasy or Tales entry. This is an RPG tailored for the pick up and play bursts that Nintendo Switch was created for, and while it's noticeably lighter than Pokemon, Little Town Hero has been priced accordingly, making it far more enjoyable as a short-term tactical experience. In an era where nearly every RPG has used grinding and oversized maps to extend their playtimes into figures only a select few can truly undertake, Little Town Hero has confidently opted for a shorter experience that's more akin to the sedate pace and style of Animal Crossing than a traditional RPG or JRPG. However, with a battle system that trades XP leveling for a purer sense of tactical planning and experimentation, Game Freak proves that a casual game can still have plenty of imagination, even on a smaller scale. It's far from essential, but if you love CCG-style combat and can't stomach another 100-hour RPG, there's much to like in Little Town Hero. We here at Nintendo Life give Little Town Hero on the Nintendo Switch a 7 out of 10. If you'd like to read our full written review, you can find it over at nintendolife.com.